Morning, guys. I'm Brad Wilson with Wild at Heart Wilderness, and today I'm just sitting out here um, in a place I like to come to every now and then. I have several different places I like to go to, but this is just one of them. But it's a place of solitude, really. Right where I'm at, nobody really comes up here. It's on a game reserve, um, and it's up on like a ridge that's overlooking a nearby river, with a field just beyond that. Every now and then you might see some deer or turkey come out. So it's a good place I like to come to every now and then, just to get away from things, just to have as a place of solitude. And I think that that's something that many of us as people, and even those of us as woodsmen and bushcrafters, we we oftentimes fail to do that, to make that a common practice, to just get away and stop. And and so that's what I want to talk to you guys about today, is finding your personal place, a place of solitude. Because so many of us, and really don't have to tell you guys this, but I mean, so many of us are busy these days and have so many things in our lives that demand our time and attention, and it's hard for us to do that. But you know, you want to do it as often as you can, I believe, but at the same time, you don't want to do it every day, because it just makes it more special when you can go to your place of solitude after some time, you know. So I think it's good for us to do that, because we're always practicing some sort of skill or learning something that we can do to physically help ourselves out, to physically get to a point where we can thrive in the wilderness. And that's very important to do. But we also have a spiritual side to us. We also have a soul. And we need to nourish that, and we don't need to neglect that. It's just like any other part of our body. We don't want to, over time, neglect anything physically, or it'll go bad on us. We won't be taking care of ourselves. And the same is true for our soul. And the two greatest things that we can do for ourselves spiritually, I believe, is number one, have a generous portion of the Word of God. And then number two, follow that with a nice, good side of the wilderness, spending time in your personal space. And so, we spend so much time in nature, learning about the wilderness, but it's good for us, as we come to our place of solitude, to stop and just learn as much as we can from nature. And you really can learn a lot from nature. And so I have a Bible verse here I'd like to share with you guys. It's in Psalm 19, verses 1 through 2. It says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky proclaims the work of His hands. Day after day they pour out speech. Night after night they communicate knowledge." So that's interesting to think about, how nature is communicating to us. And, I've always thought that that was an interesting thing to think about, whether or not the wilderness around us is communicating to us. Because, you hear that old saying in a lot of these older houses that have a lot of history to them. People say, if these walls could talk. But I like to think, if the trees around us, these really old trees, are 200 or 300 years old, or even older than that, if they could communicate to us, or the stones, if they could tell their stories, what kind of things would we hear? and I'm sure there would be a lot of interesting historical things that we would hear. But in a way, just like I read to you, the wilderness does communicate to us. They communicate knowledge. They communicate a lot of things in life that's good for us to learn. And I think most of all, the wilderness around us bears witness to a creator. If you spend enough time in the wilderness, especially if you spend it at different times of the day, you see something like the sunrise or the sunset. If you see all of the stars at night and the glory of the moon, and just the way that nature works, how the animals are provided for, how everything, how the trees serve a purpose to keep, I guess, the ecosystem of nature going, and all of those sort of things. If you really look into that, whether you observe it on a simple scale or if you observe it in a simple way, or you look really in depth and you study all of this stuff, no matter how you do it, you're going to see that everything, serves its purpose, and it's hard to see how that all just happened as a result of a cosmic event. And so it really will change I think if you spend enough time and you're open to it, it will change your mind and your opinion on issues dealing with creation or evolution and that sort of thing. And so it's really experiences that I like to call God experiences, where it's something that just hits home deep within inside you, in your soul, that you can't explain. And those are what I like to call God experiences. And you can enhance that. You can have a God experience anywhere, but you can really enhance that and bring that out even more if you go to nature and if you have that place of solitude. And so we can learn a lot about the one who created it all. We can learn a lot about God. Of course, nothing can replace the Word of God. The Word of God is absolute truth and tells us what is really true. There are a lot of things in nature that we can learn, but we're not going to know necessarily if it's absolute true. But a lot of times I think it does complement a lot of the things that we learn from the Word of God. You can learn how to be patient by observing a tree and seeing how a tree over time, and it's a process, but over time a tree grows over many, many years and becomes a fully mature tree, that's producing fruit. And in the same way, we as human beings, we as Christians, we want to learn how to be patient. And the process of sanctification, or the process of becoming more like Christ and producing fruit, is definitely a process. And it can take years. It can even take your entire life to get to that point where we are like a mature tree and producing fruit for Christ. And there are many, many other things in nature that we can learn from. And so I'm thinking about making this a video series where I go to different places that I like to go to in nature, different places I have that are places of solitude for me, and just every now and then talk about different things that we can learn from nature, or talk about things in nature that complement different teachings that we get from the Word of God. And so I want to make this video as short as I can. I don't want to go on any further, make this video too long, but mainly that's just what I wanted to share with you guys, is just having a place of solitude that you can get away to just get away from the daily grind, so to speak, the things that keep us busy, the things that distract us, and also use that time to observe nature around us, and to use that time to learn as much as we can from nature. And I think if you do that, you'll be surprised the kind of experience that you'll have. I think you'll really enjoy that type of an experience. And so anyway, I just want to leave you guys with those thoughts and challenge you guys to get out and do that, because again, that is a skill that very few of us realize that we need to practice just as much as any other skill. And so anyway, I thank you guys for watching. I thank those of you who have recently subscribed to my YouTube channel. I thank you very much for your views. I thank you much for those of you who have liked my Facebook page. All of you, you don't know how much it means to me every time I see that each person has recently liked or subscribed. It just means a lot. So I thank you guys for all of that. I thank you for your support for me and all of this. And I just thank you in general for all that you do. And so, again, I'm Brad Wilson with the Wild at Heart Wilderness. And until the next one, get out in the woods, be wild, and worship God. So, thanks, guys.